Hey everybody, welcome back. So not much is going on. That's it. End of the video. Just kidding. Listen, uh, update on where I'm at with injuries and stuff. I find out tomorrow on my MRI. So hopefully they'll figure out why I'm having all the pain and the numbness and uh, you know between Darlene and the doctor, they seem to think it's some slip disc, and that's what's causing the issues. And um, we'll see. It kind of sounds like listening to the doctor and stuff that it's more surgery. And Darlene's been she was a surgical nurse. She went in there and handed the instruments and stuff. So I don't know exactly what it's called, but she's been in surgeries and that kind of stuff. So doesn't sound too thrilling to me, but whatever it takes to get me fixed, and that's where I'm at this point. I'm not rushing nothing. I'm thankful for this time that I've had, and just made me really start to look at life and examine myself and go through each and every step that I've been going through. You look at life and you go, it's such a fast pace. Saint wants us on that hamster wheel, just spinning, spinning, spinning out of control, and really, really going nowhere. And it's a mess. And I know there's some text messages, and there's emails, and there's so much that we go through each day, and you look at your daily life, and you look at, things that you're, interesting in watching at nighttime on television, whatever it may be. And, we got social media apps, and there is just so much, and that's what I've been trying to explain through these videos. If you took your time and wrote down how much time you actually spent on these videos, and social media, and each one, like TikTok, Facebook, Meta, whatever it's called these days. I mean, my gosh, it's like a different name every time you turn around. Twitter, I think I said Twitter, but anyways, you guys get what I'm saying. There's Pinterest, I think. But either way, if you start writing down all the time that you spent, all the time that you spent watching television, and look how much time do we truly give God, throughout the day, I try to stay focused even through the pain, and you deal with what you go through each day. But what is pain? Pain is something that triggers you, lets you know that there's a problem. Pain could be in your heart. It does not necessarily mean that you're having a heart attack or heart pains or anything like that, but you could be having difficulties with a family member or a friend, and it's causing you that heartache, as they say. But the good thing is, if we come in Thanksgiving and we come in seeking Jesus, it's kind of hard to have any of those problems. Uh, I know what I'm going through, it's not right. I mean, as far as dealing with people and prolonging me, telling me things that I know just isn't true. And, you look at the events and the chains of events, how things continue to process through this whole injury. I would never do what was done. What was done, hopefully it's fixed, and you got to get a gazillion people involved with it. But I would never do that to somebody, because I've been in this situation where you're relying on things to happen, and until it happens to them, which eventually, I believe, what you put in life, good or bad, it'll come back to you. I mean, I don't need to ask God to punish somebody. I don't need to ask God to. I don't need to be there for the eye to eye, tooth for the tooth thing. I don't need to see it. Matter of fact, I really don't want to see it. Just like I don't want someone to fall into the gates of hell. But worrying, we were talking about this morning. The other day, I was outside. I was just standing, looking outside, and looking at bird feeders. Darlene's like, she likes to watch the birds and that kind of stuff. So I was just thinking about the birds and just thinking about how they eat and what attracts these birds and where do they come from. I mean, there's some we got this wild bird seed from the store, and all it says wild bird feed. I might tell you what's in it. I don't know. But I'm thinking wild bird seed is wild bird seed. They're wild birds. But then it brought these like crow looking things. And then, I mean, it brought some crows and stuff. And then I'm thinking, I don't want those things around. I mean, they're nuisance to get rid of those things. And, but then again, it's God's animal. I mean, who am I to say what's a nuisance or not? But to me, I just don't like them. I don't like them because, well, I just don't like them. But anyways, you look at the crows, you look at the different types of bird. These ones kind of look like a pigeon / something with a blue head. I mean, it's the weirdest bird I've ever seen, but they're quite larger animals from the other birds. And I got thinking, how far did they travel? I mean, how did they know? It's not like a bird has a cell phone. Hey, come over here. There's corn and all this other stuff mixed in this. But somehow they just know. And I started thinking about us, and looking at the Bible, what God's promises and stuff is, and what the Lord spoke about, the lilies being dressed, and, the comfort of us being in our home and clothing that we may have a lot of clothing, and you look, man, I really don't know what to wear. But you think about the people that go, I wish I had something different to wear today. See, counting your blessings is something we really don't do. We're not really in Thanksgiving so much, because I'm telling you, if you took a day off, when your day off, if you took your day off and just start writing down being thankful, I guarantee it, many people will not think about even being able to get up and walk, being able to use all their 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. I actually had somebody get very upset with me because I said I have 10 fingers. No, you don't. You got 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. Does it really matter? I mean, is it not still a finger? Because we call it a thumb, we call these fingers. I mean, who cares? I mean, really. So is your big toe not consider a toe, and your other ones are toes? So we have to consider that a big toe, or are all of them toes? Because you really kind of look at your toes in your hands. I mean, your thumb is kind of like your big toe, and your fingers are kind of like your toes. So do we consider that different? Or do you consider it all toes? I mean, tomato, tomato. I mean, it's just some things isn't worth the energy. But anyways, if you did all that and you went down the list, how many people would probably think about breath? I'm thankful that I don't have to live on a machine or have an oxygen or any of that type of stuff. Some people go off their appearance. I got made fun of my whole entire life. I mean, there's still people that I catch saying stuff about me and stuff, but it doesn't really matter. That's their opinion, and I'm okay with it. Like I said to a lot of people, you got to get up pretty dang on early to come against something I haven't already heard. But still, the video is not on that. I just kind of wanted to touch on the current events a little bit and give you my thoughts and opinion of what I've been seeing, and even through visions of things. And the current events, you look at, we just had Donald Trump sworn in, and I watched the inauguration last night, and as Darlene and I were sitting there watching this, we just kept noticing that certain people wasn't standing up at certain standing applause thing what Donald Trump's about to put in place. And, how many people judged Donald Trump saying he wasn't going to do all this stuff that he's doing, or they were afraid they're going to lose the free stuff that the Obamacare products gave us, free cell phones, free this, free that. It might be free to them, but we're paying for it. And a lot of these people that I know, a few people right off the top of my head that play the system, and they're capable of working, but they just don't want to, and unfortunately, COVID backfired on them. I truly believe they were trying to stop us right there. They wanted us to be indoors. They wanted us to be isolated from each other, so we can't talk. I'm surprised the phones didn't die then. I mean, I'm really surprised that we lost we still had that communication. I think if they would have did it, it would have been too much, and us as basically people become like animals. You corner a person in the corner, and it's fight or flight. And most likely, if you can't fight somewhere, you're going to fight. It's like never back that dog in the corner. You'll be surprised what it'll do. So I'm thinking about his time there, and they had to do it inside, and they had the retractable panel pieces went up, which basically bulletproof glass, so nothing can pierce through there. But unless he had a bulletproof vest on, I don't see the concept of that. I mean, if you're an excellent shot, you can go in between the two. They probably figured it would come from a side view, but what if somebody was dead on? What if somebody came up from behind him through that where they walked in at? I mean, because his back was right to that. What about somebody just put a gun right through there and poof? That's the stuff that goes through my head. Like, you put all that time and energy into that's your solution for him not getting shot again? And I'm like, okay, whatever. But we did have service people there and all that, but I didn't see anyone with a gun. I'm sure there was people in that audience that probably had guns, and they're probably just out of sight, out of mind. I'm 100% of it. I mean, I might be wrong, but I seriously doubt it. There was probably people in the higher ups and wherever sitting and watching, and probably had to get wand down before you came in. But who's to say? Whatever, things happen. Satan is not a rookie when it comes to doing what needs to be done. So I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about all the stuff that he signed, even going into day one. He did the same thing last time. He took off running, and I listened to a lot of the stuff, his promises, and doing the resources, and hopefully he's going to knock these electric companies out from having these all these fees on our electric bill, because basically you take out $45 of our electric bill, and our electric bill wouldn't have been that much. They got all these other dang gone fees. Well, it's Ohio Edison, for crying out loud. We never had those fees before. Now all of a sudden we have these fees. Why? Because you got sued. So now we're going to pay for your lawsuit, whatever you did. Gas companies, same way. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But I like the fact that he's saying that we're going to start using our own resources. We're going to start drilling again and using our oil and our gases and all that. And we're not going to be forced into this electric car thing. And I found that interesting, being that Elon Musk was sitting right behind him, and Elon Musk is on his team to help develop a lot of this stuff. So I found that very interesting, because Elon Musk can really lose a lot of money over these Tesla cars. But ain't like the guy needs it. But look at all the problems Tesla had too. These cars in the cold winter. I wonder what these cars are doing right now. I wonder if they're actually running. If they fix that problem, are they going to die again? Because we're in the negatives right now, and coming into the high of 12 today, I think it is. But it could be worse. We could be negative all the way across the board for the rest of the winter, and learn to deal with it, because that's just what we have to do. We can't change the weather. We can't change events that we're not capable of changing. But we are capable of changing our lives, and we are capable of coming into Thanksgiving and standing with God and standing with the Lord and praying. Our prayers I believe our prayers were heard over this, and a lot of people come against Donald Trump, and a lot of people voted for Kamala. I know when Darlene was still at the pantry, there was a few people there that were American Africans, and they said they voted for Kamala. I asked the one lady, I said, why? Well, because she's black. Why wouldn't I? And she's a female. You know what she stands for? You know anything that she's done? No. I said, she hasn't done nothing in 3.5 years. What makes you think she's going to do something now? We can't afford another 4 years of this. We can't. And she just looked at me. And another guy piped in, and he said, well, you can't believe everything. I was like, I don't believe it. I know it. I see it. Donald Trump is going to stop people that are under the age of 55, Medicaid and stuff, and if they're not, if they're capable, then they're going to have to work so many hours. And I'm looking at it going, right, and that's how it should be. That's how it should be. You know, because you're not full retirement, but you're just sitting around doing nothing and costing us more money in our taxes than what we need. There's got to be an end to this foolishness, and that's why a lot of people didn't want Donald Trump. I mean, I heard it across the board in different places. But look at all the stuff that he's doing, and I like the fact that we got to keep praying that he keeps God first. I mean, just keep praying this, because without God, we are sunk, people. I mean, if you really think we can go through another 4 years of what we went through, think again. You think about all the events that are taking place. You think about all the, ins and outs of life. Look at where we're at. I mean, we are sunk. I mean, we almost went underwater, sunk. That's about how bad this economy and stuff has gotten. And, the rise of prices and fuel and food. I mean, I think about some of these single parents out there who are probably struggling to either put milk on their table or gas to go to work. It's not fair. It's not fair. I mean, I don't know what everybody's situation is, but I know I knew a few people back in the day that their boyfriend just up and left them. As soon as the baby was born, that was it. Took off. Never came back. It wasn't fair to her. But, you take that chance when you play house, basically, and there's no commitment. Most people that make that commitment to play house and expect to be married, I just tell you, good luck. It might happen, it might not. Most likely, I'll put the odds on it not happening. Why? Why would you have to? They buy you an engagement ring, and that's like putting a ring on your finger. Just because you got a ring on your finger doesn't stop anything from happening that shouldn't happen. You know what I mean? I mean, do a little bit of thinking there. And, you look at it going, these days, marriage is not sacred. Marriage is a waste of time, because Satan wants it that way, to empower man, to make man useless, basically, and make woman more superior. There's no superior. I look at it as a relationship as 50-50, and you should give 50-50. I'm not beyond picking up a toilet brush and going in there and cleaning the toilet. I'm not beyond cleaning windows, washing clothes, doing floors or whatever. I'm not. It's not beyond me. I didn't hire a maid. I have a wife to have a wife, not a maid. And I know a lot of guys may disagree with that, and I know some women might go, yeah, well, okay, but come on, women, it's vice versa. I'm not saying it's wrong for a guy to have a guy's night. I'm not saying it's wrong for a woman to have a girl's night with her friends. And but what I am saying, what the wrong of it is when it becomes overpowering and it starts overpowering your relationships, and and you're spending money on foolish stuff or you're doing foolish things. You got to remember it has to align with God. You can't align it with Satan. You have to align it with God. There's nothing wrong with hanging out with your friends from high school or college, or it's life. You hung out with, and most people hung out with the same people from school all their childhood life, all the way to adulthood. There's nothing wrong with that. But eventually we grow up. You ever notice half the people in your life are no longer there? I mean, I think about the last schools I went to. I bet you I could walk past half the people and they probably wouldn't recognize me. The funny thing is, I went to Heminger. It was in Kenmore, right off Kenmore Boulevard. Now it's an apartment thing there, I think. But I went there, and it's funny. More people remember me from Heminger than the other schools that I went to. Isn't that something? I mean, I probably, even if I ran across teachers I had in North Canton, what was she? She wasn't my history teacher. I think she was math. I think she was math teacher. I was in 8th grade. I believe. And she got me a calculator to watch. I can't think of her name, though. That saved my life. But anyways, it's not important. But you look at what is important, the care that people care about you. They don't want to see, and I was terrible at math. but I put that watch on silence and I was allowed to use it. And the way that I just held it down and just like punched the numbers, I got very good at knowing the keypad on that calculator watch. And I always wanted one. I mean, that was the thing. And she gave me one after class, and man, I just thought it was the best thing ever. And you know, what a lovely lady. I mean, she was just the best. I mean, probably one of my better teachers, and you know, really caring person. I mean, back then you didn't have a lot of that. So today's time, I feel bad for teachers because of what they got to deal with. You know, it's a total nightmare. It's just plain total nightmare. I don't even know why school. I'm actually surprised schools are even still open. I heard the graduation rates are down. And it doesn't surprise me because Satan wants people stupid. That's why this homeschool usually doesn't work. You usually fall out of place when it comes to homeschool, which doesn't surprise me either, because it makes kids lazy. You know, most kids are on games and doing stuff and doing whatever they got to do. I know there is some that's visualized, but you think about the visual effects of it. You think about God's always watching us, no matter what we're doing. Like right now, God's watching us. God knows your thoughts. He knows your opinions. He knows what you're thinking, and you know, we can't escape that. We're not going to be able to escape that. In the end, no matter if you're raptured up or you're left here, and then you're one of them wishy-washy Christians, as I call it, well, it's your own fault. Because you got every opportunity. Right now on YouTube, there's so many people prophesying things. Some people, I say beware, you know, and I've put out warning on a few of them. And you just got to look at it and go, it's up to you. It's your choice. It's your choice what you watch or don't watch. So you go back and forth with things, and it is what it is. I mean, you have to be responsible for yourself. Your husband can't get you there. Your wife can't get you there. Your children can't get you there. And if you live by the saying, well, I want to go to heaven, but I'm not ready to go yet, well, then most likely you're probably never going to be ready. Just saying. So I think Trump's off to a good start, but I believe we still got to pray. So let me move on to the next topic here. A lot of people buzzing about these wildfires in California. You know, the Lord showed me California separating, California going into 3 chunks. The San Andreas line would be a part of that effect for that to happen. But, you know, you look at some of the people's houses that are burning are in Hollywood, in the music industry. You look at all the courts going on right now, and you look at all the cases that are coming, and, well, it's a total nightmare. But why would how did the fire start? That's a big question that comes around. And my thing is, it was done by man. I know some of you may say wrong or what. Unless a meteor fell out of the sky that we didn't see, or a lightning bolt came down and hit somewhere that caused this spark of fire, well, isn't that done by man? Jesus is the Son of God. He was man form. We are man form. Something started it. I believe it was man. It was not the first time that people have called out the fact that they've seen people in look like fire restraint suits and walking in with look like this cannon looking thing on a pipe with a trigger thing, and flames were coming out of it. Sounds like a flamethrower to me. Just saying. You know, wildfires, it's a possibility. Somebody could have drove down the road and flicked a cigarette out. Well, that's man-made. Man did it. I don't think it's that simple. I think they want that land, and a lot of Hollywood people are selling their properties off for as much as they would with the house on there. Think about it. If they have plans for this, then they wouldn't need the houses. So it's easier just to burn the dang things down and get rid of them. They have a reason now to get them off there. So rumors going around. I don't know if it's, I should say rumor, but speculation, or, however you want to say it, that they're wanting to put a smart home city type thing in there. What y'all thinking? How many people is probably wondering what's going through your head? I can tell you what's going through my head. FEMA camps. They're going to lure people in with this stupid smart stuff because we're so hooked on it. Has anybody noticed that Apple is involved in a lot of stuff these days? I mean, seriously. iPhones are becoming more and more 5G, 6Gs. Well, I've never heard of 6Gs. Well, you will. 5Gs wasn't even meant for us. It was more for NASA and that kind of stuff. I mean, it was not. We shouldn't even be. I mean, I got a 5G phone, and I tell you what, it's stuck on 3 to 4G. Every time I look at it, 3G, 4G, whatever the G stand for, I don't know. I'm not a tech in that area. I really don't care. I just, if I want to text somebody or watch a video or make a video or make a video, make another video and make another, but, I don't trust it. I don't trust anything that it comes down to smart anything. We got smart homes, we got smart cars, we got smart this, smart televisions, and they all communicate. We got Siri, Alexa, we got door ring, I don't know what the door things are called, where the door cameras and all that stuff comes on. Whatever. There's a gazillion of those out there now, so it doesn't really matter which brand you have. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with having that. There's nothing wrong with having security cameras. There's nothing wrong with any of it. But what do you think it all does communicate? If we're able to turn these things on, what makes you think that someone else isn't? Okay? It's about control. And I believe that's exactly what's happening. I believe they're setting up these stages everywhere. And you think about California, I mean, you're right off the water. I mean, California is, somebody was asking me about Hawaii, if I heard anything, what causes all the problems in Hawaii. No, I haven't heard anything, but I haven't even prayed on it. I didn't even know anything was going on there, but I guess a while back or something. My thing is, Hawaii is Hawaii. Hawaii is ashes and hardened from a volcano. I honestly didn't know that. I was sitting there, I was watching a National Geographic thing, and it was on the History Channel. I think it was on the History Channel. And they were talking about Hawaii, how it was formed and stuff like that. And I'm like, no kidding. And all that stuff grows on that. But look at their water, though. I mean, it's incredible. But Hawaii is very expensive to live there. And there's not a whole lot. I mean, I've seen different islands of Hawaii, the little branch, kind of like the Keys and, the Bahamas and stuff like that. You think about that and go, now, if I was Elon Musk and I was the richest man on this earth, and that's exactly what they said last night. So, when we watched it, I had no idea. I mean, I knew he was well off in the trillions, but the richest man on this planet. How's it make you feel? When you see all these things that are going up and we don't even know what Elon Musk is doing in space. We don't know what he's doing up there. We don't know what anybody's doing up there. We don't know what China's doing up there. We don't know what the U.S. is doing up there. Russia's doing up there. All I know is they got a space station. Have you ever seen one of them space stations? That's crazy. I mean, it's like straight out of Star Wars up in there. I mean, there's so much going on. You just got to look at it and go, what's right, what's wrong? You can't trust the government. And I don't know about now. Hopefully Donald Trump stays under God and he's going to stay doing what he's saying he's going to do. And he's going to make all these tariffs and stuff goes back into the IRS. And hopefully they're going to have to reimburse us for all the money they've stolen from us. And that would be nice. But a lot of people are prophesying that's what's going to happen. So it would be nice to get back money that they have taken illegally from us. If you ask me, I don't think we should have to pay taxes. IRS was man-made. We should never even be in a tax bracket with that. IRS is basically, you look back in Caesar days, that's kind of what on IRS, where this whole nonsense come from. What does Caesar's pay Caesar's? What did God give to God? Well, I'd rather give to God than give to Caesar or Uncle Sam. He's not my uncle. I don't know this guy, and I sure don't want to give him a bunch of money to see the nonsense that we've been putting up with. But that's life. There's nothing I can do but sit there and let it dwell on me and just run myself ragged. And that's what would happen. Truly, that's what would happen. Some things is out of our control. We got to lift it to God. And we got to let God be in control of it. So, you go off the pyramids. You look at the pyramids. I said it all along. Pyramids are nothing but, I hate to say it, and I hope YouTube puts it on there, but I mean, I'm not the only one I watched another guy that pretty much saying what I'm saying, right, that I've been saying on these things. You look at the pyramids and there's just, why are they there? Well, there is underground tunnels that goes into these things. I seen in a vision where there was all kind of control panels and stuff in there, and they were controlling things that are happening outside, shooting missiles off and all that. Some people say, well, they're burial sites for like Cleopatra and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, bull crap. I mean, come on. Is the top of that thing retractable? I mean, who the heck? You're not even allowed to go in them. It's like Area 51 or 52, whatever that thing is up there. If you get caught too far, they will kill you. An American soldier is going to kill an American. What are you hiding? Is it I know some people that were in the army saying, well, yeah, because if the wrong information gets out, you can give that to the enemy and other. Let me stop there for a minute. Listen to that. Listen to how crazy that sounds. I mean, literally, listen to how crazy that sounds. If you don't think that they already know what we're doing, look at the weather balloon. It was supposed to be a weather balloon, but look how long it took to get it out of the sky. And then when we finally did, we used the most expensive missile there could be to take it out. You know why? Because they wanted it to be gone, so there was no evidence. I'm convinced of it. I mean, you look at sorry, I have to keep moving around, guys. I'm not trying to, but it starts to get a little uncomfortable. And then lately, last few days, I've had this sharp pain that's coming up my side, and it's going into my lower back area, and it's just throbbing non-stop. I mean, even the stuff they gave me isn't even taking it away. I mean, it's just like pounding force in there. I feel like I've just been in a boxing match and got out of that, because that's how my ribs and stuff would feel afterwards. Them kidney shots and stuff. I'm thinking, maybe my body's just shutting down. Maybe it's time for me to go home. It's like, well, then, okay, what about all your visions then? Maybe God's just going to take me home to let me rest and then send me back. He can do anything he wants. He's capable of doing it, Where was I at? I don't know. That's what happens when I don't have a set program for the day, but there's a lot of things been on my mind, and I just wanted to kind of give you guys my thoughts on these things. These drones flying around. There's more people. I know. I told you guys I was on my way to work, and this thing looked like a freaking UFO. I mean, I literally stopped, and this thing was just hovering. I rolled down my windows and opened my sunroof, and this thing was just and I'm like, what in the world is that? It was like I was in a movie. Then when I got to work, got all my stuff in the truck, I'm like going on there, is there any Hollywood movies being filmed in Ohio right now? Because I'm telling you, that's exactly what I thought. I thought it was a Hollywood movie prop thing flying through or something. But then I'm like, wow, how advanced are we that they could build something that big? I'm telling you, people, that thing was huge. I mean, it was like, if you look at a 747, the wingspan, that's about how wide this thing was, from wing to wing. It was huge. I mean, if you turned that plane all the way around, it was the same perfect roundness from what I could see. I mean, it was dark, but there was lights and stuff that this flashing red light that was on the thing. And I know some of you say, "Hey, it could have been a helicopter." There ain't no damn helicopter that big. No, 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 no. I mean, I can literally. It was low enough I could see through my sunroof the black metal. I mean, you literally could tell there was a hatch that opened down the bottom and stuff of this thing. That was no plane. That was no stealth. That was, if that was a stealth, man, I like to see how that damn thing hovered like that. I don't know if stealths can hover, but that thing was ridiculous. I mean, that was remarkable how big that thing was. And the sound of it, I've never heard a sound like that. I mean, that was the craziest morning that I think I had ever in my life. And I've seen some incredible things. I've seen stuff out in the desert when I used to drive and do a 34 out there and stuff, and go out to the desert and just sit at nighttime and just look at the stars and just lay there thinking, I really didn't think about scorpions and crap like that back then, but today I do. I'm like, dang, I'm surprised I didn't get tore up by a scorpion or something, or a rattlesnake or something, because they go close to the heat too, I mean, that wasn't so smart, but anyways, I mean, I remember seeing stuff even then come across the sky that you just overlook it because you don't want to put thought into it. Like, what was that? But it would have been cool if, the movie E.T., the, little extraterrestrial dude come down and, hung out and we talked and played on the speak and spell thing and just chilled out and talked about things and went fishing and, had some mac and cheese and some soup on the fire out there. Reese's Pieces, but in the book it was M&M's, but the person couldn't find M&M's, so they just brought Reese's Pieces on in the movies, and that's how that happened. In case you were all wondering, if you ever read the book and said, yeah, you're right, it is M&M's. Why was there Reese's Pieces in the movie? That's why. That's the only reason why. Guess the person didn't know the difference between M&M's or Reese's Pieces. I don't know, but it was kind of cool. It's kind of cool because I don't know how many other people that probably never really ate Reese's Pieces, because I was big on M&M's, the peanut ones. I love the peanut ones still today, and but I become a big Reese's Pieces fan. I mean, honestly, that's what got me hooked on Reese's Pieces and Reese's peanut butter cups, and today the Reese's sticks, if they still even make them. I don't know. Never really looked, but anyways, let's not get on the bandwagon of candy, because, man, I could be here all day. Because I'm thinking of a lot of childhood candy that was really good that you went, wish they still had it today. But, so you think about all this, it's, we have to be ready for everything. We have to be ready, and that means our spiritual life has to be ready. And, life's a mystery. God is a mysterious person, and that's what I love about him, and that's what I love about being a follower of Jesus Christ, because there's never nothing dull. It's like I talked about on the other videos, always wanted to be a detective. It's like every day Jesus sends me on a little detective skills, or he gives me something, and I sit and think about it and try to think about what if it happened this way? What if it happened that way? What about this or that? If you put this in the equation, would this have happened? Those are the things that I sit and think about. I think about how God's mercy is on us, and I mean, to sit there and think about birds flying out of nowhere and just knowing there's food there, for me to sit there and think about, how well God takes care of us, everything. You could try to prove the Bible wrong. I have not found, and trust me, I tried it. That's what got me into looking at different religions back in the day. I said it. I think it was on the Hell video. I started examining every kind of religion. Anybody that said they were part of this religion, Methodist, Mennonites, Amish, whatever you want to call them. I hate to pronounce anything wrong because I'm not trying to offend them. I think they're really nice people. I mean, I talked to a few of them before, and Not so much the women. I've never had a although unless you went to one of their restaurants or something like in Amish country that we got, uh, they'll talk to you then. But not. I mean, even when I drive and I go around them, and when they've got their horse and buggy, I turn my flashers on and go real slow past them because I don't want to. It's out of respect. I don't want to spook the horse or anything, and I'm not trying to frighten anybody else, but some of them will wave back to you when you wave. Not the women. I've never seen them wave, and I look at that with the Bible, and I think about how they're you think about the women to these days women. I think about some of these shows and like the Amazing Race, watching some of that, and you look at how people react towards each other, and I'm like, wow. It makes you really start to think when you're in an argument with your spouse or your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. Um, that's kind of how you look. I gave that video about go argue with yourself in the mirror once. Get mad, think about your last argument, and you start responding in the same way you did then, and look at yourself in the mirror, and you can honestly see. I've had people take me wrong by the way I look or how I say something or my action at the moment, but you don't even, I mean, my thing is I find myself explaining myself over and over and over and over. And my thing is this, depending on what's going on, I mean, am I tired? Am I in pain? And am I hungry? I mean, there's no excuse, but we all been hungry and we all get that grouchiness. I mean, unfortunately, it's just how it goes. I don't know who's calling, but it can wait. But so you have to remember these things before you take things personal. Now there is some people out there just wicked. I mean, they're just going to try to bash you down in any way they can to just hurt your feelings, and that's the power of the sword that you got in your mouth called your tongue. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't mean that you need to be treated like that. I mean. Eventually you just had enough and that's it, and you just end up walking away. Sometimes I'm not saying it's right. I'm never going to say that. I think if you give everything to God, again, what makes something, and I know I've had people challenge me on this. Well, you went through a divorce. You're right, I did. I also married a person just so I could divorce him and hand him a legal piece of paper. To me, I know it's strange, and I know people don't understand this, but it's just the way I am. To me, to see that piece of paper get handed to that person that I was married to, it just meant I have no more ties to you ever. The kids are old enough. I don't need to contact you because I had my two youngest kids at that point, and even the stuff that she took out of the house wasn't even hers. But I didn't fight it. I didn't care. It just shows the character of who I am to who she is. Right is right, wrong is wrong. But today I pray for her. And today, after the Lord started ripping them roots out, and I was still holding that spitefulness in there, and even towards the kids, like I can't believe all the stuff that you've seen her do, that you flock over there. I don't get it. But it's that effect, I guess, that some kids got to be next to that parent they never really had any connection with, and you pretty much dump on the other one because they're always going to forgive you. Well, I do forgive. I've forgiven, and just as I want God to forgive me of anything that I've done. And let's face it, people, I've done some dark, twisted stuff, and it's just how it is. I mean, I didn't ask to grow up the way I did, but I made the best out of it. And we don't ask for what we have, but we should be thankful we have a job. We should be thankful we have a car and food, and you can go out to dinner when you want, or go to the movies, go bowling. Well, whatever your delight is, we should be thankful. Be thankful that you have friends. I don't really have any friends. I mean, other than Darlene, but I mean, and the people that I interact with here. But are you truly friends? I mean, do you really consider me a friend? And you only know me by here. So is that fair to say that you can consider me a friend? I mean, do we talk? Do we do things like friends do and stuff like that? I mean, so many people has taken me wrong just by the way I speak about things, or I ask a question in a question, because, I'm always testing the spirits, because I've always been hurt so many times by allowing Satan to open that door. So I, I think a lot of people take me wrong. And I think a lot of people take me for however they want to take me. And um, that's okay. I mean, take it however you want. You know, I look at Luke. I look at Brandon. I haven't got a chance to respond to him, but you know, and I know it could be hurtful. I mean, when you want a response to something or anything like that. But my thing is, I'm busy. I mean, I got a lot going on, and I'm not making excuses. People never will. I don't intentionally try to hurt anybody. I don't intentionally try not to get back to an email or a comment on here. I almost knocked that nightlight, but tomato off again. I don't know. I think there's a lot of people judge, and we shouldn't be judging people. This time, we should be uniting with each other. Because if my visions are right and the rapture comes and there's going to be a lot of people here, and it was funny, I read an email this morning and somebody says, do you think that person lives in New York, or do you think they travel? I would gather, to answer your question, because I told you I would do it on this video, to answer your question, I believe they traveled. The only reason why I believe that, because somebody that lives in New York wouldn't necessarily, unless they're going on vacation, but they were coming into New York. From what I can see, the car, for some reason, I seen this car, and I don't know the make or anything. And I'm a good car person, but I mean, these days, not so good. I mean, even some of the older cars, I used to know them like just by looking at the car. But then you look at the Camaro, you look at the Trans Am, you look at the Firebirds and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they all start looking kind of funky anyways. But, the Cutlasses that they changed into, anyways. But unless they were coming back from a trip, I can't honestly answer that. But I would say most likely coming to there. I might be wrong. But my thing is, if it's anybody that's even off of here, I actually know 3 different people that live in New York, and one of them being Tracy. I would hope that, I would hope it wasn't her, because I would want her to go to heaven. I mean, and that, why would I expect it be her when I would expect her to go to heaven? Now, I don't know what God has in store. I don't know what God has in store for anybody. I'm just saying, if this comes to happen, well, why am I here? Because did He choose me? Did I not make the cut, per se? I mean, I don't know, people. I'm lately, I'm telling you, these last few weeks have changed my thoughts and changed how I am about things. And I trust God, and that's all I can say with it. I don't care if I go to heaven right away, or if I stay here and do work for Him, then that's an honor. Whoever's here, and I am taking to that place, I just know you're safe. That's all I can tell you. I know that we have food. I bring toys back for the kids, and yes, there's kids there. So I just can't. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Everybody just automatically thinks that a kid's going to heaven if they're under a certain age. And I disagree with that, because there is a lot of angry kids these days, and there's a lot of kids killing parents, a lot of kids killing other kids. Look at this. So does that give them a get out of jail free card because they're there? I mean, but then again, you're not held responsible for the things that you don't know. So again, yeah, I'm not here to play God, people. I'm not doing that. If he chooses and I'm still here, then I'm still here. Then I'll be in New York. I think by now, as many times as I've had that vision, I can pretty much get in and out of that building pretty dang on quick. It's the craziest thing ever. Unfortunately, it means wrapping a fire hose around me and jumping out, busting a window and jumping out, going a couple floors down, going into another one so I could get down into that floor to be able to do what I need to do there. Which tower is it? I don't know. I don't know. I just know it's a pretty tall skyscraper looking thing. And so I don't know about anybody else, but I've actually seen fire hoses that's been in those boxes. They're not the easiest thing, but it's not the easiest thing to cut either. I mean, it's not the easiest thing that if would it. My thing is I think about the connection. The water has to come in there, so it's got to be hooked to some kind of pipe. So my thing is, I'm not worried about the hose coming apart. I'm worried about that where it's hooked. You know, let's face it. I mean, I ain't no thin little man here. I mean, geez. But I guess with all that pressure, man, anything's possible. But one thing that I know is possible, that God's not going to let me fall. Even if I fall, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die of hunger. I'm not going to die of thirst. The pains, I don't want to go through the pains either. So you got to kind of take it both ways. It's a if give and take on that one. Am I going to take the chips? No. Am I going to take the marks? No. Am I going to take anything of free will? No. I don't trust these RFID cards. All this W garbage. You know, people, I've been speaking about this. I had this stuff. Wait till I get in these tablets. I mean, I didn't date a lot of stuff back then, but it doesn't matter if you believe me or don't believe me. I know I've been speaking about these things for a long time. And I can tell you where I was working when it came to me and all of it. And, I mean, I didn't know what any of it was, you know. And then when you start hearing about the RFID chip and all that stuff, people implanting that into them and all this stuff like that, I start going. And then you're hearing people talk about it. I actually had a vision of the news was going to jump on these bandwagons, and you're going to see newscasts, people on there taking this, and their bank accounts and all this stuff is onto there. I spoke about these ghost accounts that you're going to start hearing about, that they're going to start trying to get you to put your money into these accounts, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. It's up to you. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. Because I'm telling you right now, even if you got $90,000 in the bank, if this crashes, you are $90,000 broke. If it crashes. I mean, how are they going to back it up? I asked the bank once, I said, what happens if the bank crashes? They said, we don't really know. You know, we think about this stuff too. Isn't that something? Just saying. Think about it. It's kind of scary if you think about it. But it's scary in a way, but promising that God's promise that he'll take care of us. But they just give you, everybody, a certain amount of money, and that's what you live off of. I mean, I got a feeling it's coming down to that anyways. You know, you look at grocery stores, you know, there's some places at Walmart's where you got to bring your own bags. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, their bags suck anyways. I mean, they're real paper thin. You got to put 2 or 3 bags on. Then they wonder why they're using twice as many bags now, because people are double and tripling these bags because they break. I remember walking out to my truck one night, and it was about 9:30 at night, and I get all the way back to my truck, and I start locking the door, and I picked up the bag, and the bag broke. It went everywhere. I said, never again will I just carry a single bag out. Most of the time I do have reusable bags, and I do carry them in because they're a lot sturdier, and the handles, and they're easy to carry. I don't like to waste stuff. I mean, there is plastic returns and stuff like that. I mean, you go to Michigan and you got to pay a deposit on bottles and stuff like that, and cans, and I guess it's supposed to help with the streets, but you drive down certain streets, it doesn't help with paper because there's garbage all over the place. You just don't see cans and bottles. So how are you stopping litter? I mean, I don't know. This is the stuff I've just been thinking about. I think about the government. I think about other governments, and you think about all the stuff that's happened with Israel right now. And Israel's the key part to all this. You look at the Bible. You go into Hosea. You go into Isaiah. You go into all these different Old Testament into the New Testament where it links us there. Somebody says, on a comment, how do I consider myself a Jew? I wasn't whatever that word is. Basically, I don't know, like I wasn't ordained or something. Whatever. I don't even know the right word to pick, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying. Well, according to what I read in the Bible, if I baptize in the Holy Ghost and baptize in the water and the Holy Spirit over me, whatever you want to say, I become a family in God's kingdom. Well, if Mary was a Jewish lady, well, then I would have to say that it would be Jews. But it also says that we are now a part of that. So then their next comment is, well, if that's the case, should we be following the Jewish calendars and not ours? I would say yes, because you can live off of the Jewish holidays and all that, and it's totally different from all of ours. Their New Year is way before ours. So if you were doing a time event off of that, then I would say yes. The problem is you live in the United States, so you'd also have to have a United States calendar to be able to understand what's going on here. Do they have holidays like we have? Well, yeah, they celebrate Hanukkah. We celebrate Christmas. Is there anything wrong with celebrating Hanukkah? No. I don't know a lot about it. I just know it's 8 days, and it's different events and different. It sounds like kind of like a festival type thing, from what I understand. I don't know a whole lot about the Hanukkah. I looked into it once, and that's how I know just a little bit, but I didn't dig into it a lot. But there is people on here that can leave comments on Hanukkah, and for the life of me, her name just slipped my mind. Anyways, she knows. But anyways, where was I at? Hanukkah. Okay, so Hanukkah, I don't see the I don't see why, if you're a true Christian of God, why a Jewish person would have a problem, because they still go. Now there's two different Jews. I don't know what it's called, but you got the ones that believe that Jesus was just a prophet. You got the one that believes that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God. So there is a name for that, but I don't know what it is offhand. I mean, I did, but I don't remember what it is now. My brain is not reacting the way it should be, I guess, right now, because there's a lot of stuff that just I'm like struggling to try to get the right name for it and stuff. But anyways, so I don't see why it would matter. It's between you and God. I would say that. Have your peace with God and do whatever. Don't worry about what man's going to look at you, because if man's judging you, even woman is judging you, then you don't need them people in your life. I mean, honestly, I would cut ties. In your examination, sometimes Jesus takes stuff out of your life that you want, and I think that's why a lot of people have a hard time with allowing Jesus to mold and sculpt them, because their flesh wants to hang on to something that he removes. I welcome it. Take it all away from me. Every last bit of it, take it from me. I don't want it. If it's going to lead me away from him, I don't want it. So, there you go. So anyways, that's my thought on a lot of this right now that's going on. And there's a lot more that I could probably touch on, but I'm way past the hour. No, I'm almost to the hour mark. I wanted to wrap it up in a half hour, but you guys are used to it. So anyways, thank you guys for all that you do. Thank you for being a part of this roller coaster ride, and sticking with me, and thank you for the likes and getting this video out to other people, sharing it, whatever. Those who share it, those who don't, it's okay too. Those who haven't subscribed and you still watch, well, thank you for watching. You don't have to subscribe. You don't even have to like it. But I say, if you think a video can help somebody, then please share it with them, or please let them know so they can watch it. And that's all it's about. It takes all of us. I know a lot of people, the last question I had is, I was supposed to be on another podcast in May. Actually, it was supposed to be in May. And I don't know whatever happened. I know her husband called me a couple times, and it was the wrong time. Everything was going upside down for me, and I was exhausted, and I couldn't even take a breath, people. I mean, I wasn't even really doing videos. It was a moment that everything that I felt like I was being smothered, and I really didn't have time to talk. And unfortunately, I apologize. And it's kind of like the Randy K deal. Apologize. I would never have done that. But, the next season, and I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But at this point, and it's sad because the one I really like them, husband and wife, and I never thought that. I just felt extremely judged, and then when I finally got a reply back to it, I'll be in touch sometime, and like kind of pissed off at me or something. I mean, and that's exactly how I took it. Like, this ain't my fault. I understand it, and I'm thankful for your concerns, but at that point, the routes I was on and everything that I was dealing with, I was getting up at the crack of dawn. I was going to bed, we're talking mid-afternoon, trying to sleep, and it's. If I gotta sit here and go over why, and after I explain stuff to people, the ball's in your court, and at this point, and if I got to answer for God for this, I know some people say, well, no, that's kind of judgmental and petty. No, I just feel, if that's really how people do people, I don't need people like that in my life. I said I was sorry. I didn't mean. I'm trying to explain, and I think what it was, they took the video kind of wrong, because I listened to the voicemail again, and honestly, I had a paper, because I always keep a tablet next to me when I'm stopped at a light. I'll write stuff down real quick, and it was on there to call him back, and then I go home, and I got 2 days here to get stuff done, and there was a bunch of stuff going wrong here. It was just a whirlwind of nonsense. But it's okay. That's what I'm talking about when God removes stuff. When God removes it, you got to let it go, people. And that's it. And I let it go. This year, starting at this year, I think this is the 22nd or 23rd or something. I don't even know what day this is, but it's been, let's just say it's the 22nd. It's been 22 days of removal, 22 days of restoring, 22 days of God changing and molding, breathe things into my life, and let my brain think beyond stress and pressures and everything else. And I'm very cautious now. I'm very cautious of, and again, nobody's done anything wrong. It's just I don't need that type of stuff in my life. I'm very, very careful of which avenue I go down. And speaking of which, I got it written down somewhere, but I have to reach out to this lady that she's. I feel bad for her son, because I can relate to it. I hated God too. But I don't know if he necessarily hated God. I think he blames God for everything, and that's kind of how I was too. There's still people out here who does it. They blame God for everything. But then when you look at it and go, that's rough. If I would have had somebody on here speaking this stuff like I speak today, and I'm not just saying it because of me, I would listen to people like myself, because I can relate to it. and they've been through it and they got through it. So I want to know how they made it through it. I want to know so I know there's hope. And that's what I held on to from a child, hope. Show me hope. Well, he did. It's called Jesus Christ. Sorry, guys. So, I hope I answered quite a bit of people's comments and stuff on the emails. Kind of threw a little bit of everything in this video. So, God bless you guys. Love you. Till the next one.